everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I'm here to do my August mid-month wrap-up. So we say it every month, it seems like, but like time is flying, you guys. It is August 20th as I film this, and I'm just like mind-boggled. Summer is almost over. School has started. Things are like, well, it's not really cooling off, but things are definitely like getting back into like school routine and fall rhythm. And normally this time of year like really is stressful and depressing to me because I love summer, but this year I'm like living for it. I am so excited for fall, cooler weather, baby to be here, all the things. So August, the first half of the month was a little different for me, but I'm expecting that now until October or whenever this baby comes, things will be a little bit different for me. My reading is going to kind of be on the back burner, and not that I didn't read a lot, but just I feel like it is really taking like a lot of energy to read, and so I'm not picking up books as often as I normally do, but still it was a great first half of the month. And let's just get into the stats and then we'll talk about the books. So in the first half of August, I read 11 books. The average page length was 260 pages per book. I read 2,875 pages, which is about 190 pages a day. I read 7 novels and 4 chapter books. So 7 adult books and 4 middle grade. The 4 middle grade or chapter books are books that I'm reading with my daughter. So for myself, I read 7, and with her, I read 4. As far as the star rating goes, I had 2 3 stars, 3 3.5 stars, 3 4 stars, 1 4.5, and 2 5 stars, which is really great. But I think a lot of those are the chapter books, middle grades. We did some rereading this month. So, yeah, the average is 3.91, which is really high and really good. I read 9 off my shelf and 2 from somewhere else, so that feels good. But I did no physical reading for myself this month so far. I've done 7 audiobooks, and so those are the 7 adult novels that I've read, and then the 4 books that I read with my daughter, I'm reading those physically. And so I read 4 from Libby, 4 on my shelf, 1 from Hoopla, 1 from Kindle Unlimited, and 1 from NetGalley. So for my audiobooks, I used Libby, Hoopla, Kindle Unlimited, and NetGalley, and that feels really good because those are like pretty much all the services that I utilize, and so it feels good when I like use them all, because a lot of times I'll get stuck in like using just one over the other, and then I'm like either paying for or not utilizing the other one. So I read 3 new releases, 8 backlist, and then as far as genres goes, I read 4 mystery thrillers, 2 contemporary, 2 sci-fi fantasy, 1 women's fiction, 1 nonfiction, and 1 historical. So let's just get into the books. As always, I'm going to go in the order that I read them, so it's not anything based on how much I like them or anything. This is just the order I read them in, and we'll go from there. I was able to pull a couple off my shelves. I'm going to start trying to like not just put them away or unhaul them immediately. I'm going to try to put them in a stack because it's so much easier if I have them physically, and I think you guys like it better. Maybe, I don't know. But the first one I read was A Dog's Journey by W. Bruce Cameron. So this is number 2 in A Dog's Purpose, maybe, I think is the name of the series, but this is just from the perspective of a dog, and it follows him as he has his companion and tries to protect his companion over her lifespan, despite the fact that his lifespan is shorter. So if you read the first book, these are both movies, I think. I know the first 2 are movies. I think this is a trilogy, and I don't know if all 3 are movies, but in the first one, he's following a boy. That boy grows up and he becomes a grandpa. And so now this is the granddaughter, and this dog becomes the companion for the granddaughter. So there's definitely some suspension of disbelief. You know, he keeps getting like reincarnated, and that's not something I believe in, but I still think it's fun to read, and I gave it 3.5 stars. They're just cute, sweet, like, again, makes you realize and remember just how awesome dogs are and how loving and selfless and just great they are. Especially like in this one, he had a couple of personalities, bodies, whatever, where he like from the outside would probably not be a really desirable dog, and yet his intentions were so sweet that it really just makes me love dogs more. So that was a good one. I'm glad I read it. Then we read The Great Raspberry Mixup by Harriet Whitehorn, and this is the first in the Freddy's Amazing Bakery series. I've talked about it a lot. It's from Usborne, Kane Miller Publishing. It's the same thing. And these are our favorite. Like, it's a 4-book series right now, at least. and my daughter loves them. We've read all 4, and she wanted to reread the first one, and the first one's my favorite, so we gave it 5 stars again. This is basically the like Great British Bake Off, but for kids. So Freddie is this kid. He owns a bake shop, and there is a competition, and it's so good. The tension is there. It is like, it's so good. Even as an adult, I don't mind rereading that one like I do some of the others. So 5 stars. Then I read The Rejected Writers Book Club by Suzanne Kelman. So this is one that I was unsure really like what to expect out of this, but this is a women's fiction about 4 women who are in this club because they all are trying to be writers, kind of, and they keep getting rejections, and they're about to celebrate their 500th rejection when one of them actually gets like a manuscript approved, and they're like frustrated that she got approved, and so they decide to go to San Francisco to track down the publisher and be like, what are you doing? Like, why are you approving this? And they bring along our main character. She's librarian Janet Johnson, and they pull her into the group mostly just to kind of use her. And that, like, so I'm giving this 4 stars because it was really fun, and like the end was straight out of not a rom-com, just like a funny chick lit movie. Like I could totally see the end a rom-com, I guess, but I could totally see the ending happening in a movie. I was like laughing out loud. It was really cute. But the way that one of the members of the book club is very dominant, and the way she like railroads our main character is frustrating. And our main character is going to San Francisco to be with her daughter, who is in a high-risk pregnancy and having a hard time. And I just thought, like, as both a mother and as somebody currently going through a high-risk pregnancy, I would be like, yo, stand up and like make sure you get to your daughter, because this trip ended up taking forever because of all the hijinks. And it's funny, it's cute, but I really wish our main character had a little more of a backbone and didn't get railroaded as much. So 4 stars on that. And then I read The Arrangement by Robin Harding. By Kiersten Modglin. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Robin Harding, but I gave this one 4.5 stars. I had heard so much about this, and you guys know I've tried 2 Kiersten Modglins before this, and one I really did not like and one I did like. And so I have heard so much praise for this that I was so excited to read it, and I was not disappointed at all. So she writes really short, pretty to the point thrillers, and this one was no different. It was like maybe 6 hours on audio, and it's about a husband and wife who, their kids are teenagers. They have just kind of lost the spark in their marriage, and so they decide to start dating other people in order to kind of like revamp that spark. So he gets one night a week, she gets the other night a week, and they're really just having no strings attached hookups. And so of course, something goes wrong, and that's all I really want to say about it. It is a thriller. There is a big twist in the end. However, I feel like the twist in the end kind of came out of nowhere and was out of character. And so, like, I really felt like her character development would have been so much better if this was just a little bit longer. Like, if we could have gotten some hints to things and gotten to know the characters a little bit more, I feel like it would have been better, but still a really entertaining read. Then I read The Extraordinary Life of Serena Williams. So this is one that I read with my daughter. She is big into tennis. She plays tennis every week, and she loves Serena Williams, and she just loves learning about different athletes. And so this is a book about her life and her from the time she was a child and first started playing tennis all the way up to her career presently, being a mom, that kind of stuff. It is definitely one that I feel like would be a good, more like, it's very factual. So the beginning in her childhood and all that is very like easy to read, storytelling, that kind of stuff. But later it gets into a lot of like the statistics of her number of wins and all that kind of stuff that is just kind of like, rah, 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 rah. So I gave it 3 stars. We both enjoyed reading it, but it's definitely more of like a factual book as opposed to like a reading for pleasure book. But we are really excited to watch Serena Williams next week, in 10 days or so, compete in the U.S. Open, because she said it's her last tournament. And so we're really excited to watch, and it was like a really good time to read it. Then I read Take My Hand by Dolen Perkins-Valdez. And this is one that I've been like highly anticipating. I got it from Book of the Month. I think it's the most beautiful cover ever. And this is about a woman. She is a nurse named Sybil, and she works in Montgomery, Alabama. Her dad is a doctor, and so she could just like go into practice with her dad, but she's like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go with the, let's see what it's called, the Montgomery Family Planning Clinic. And so she becomes a nurse for that. And her first clients, patients, whatever, are an 11 and 13-year-old girl who the government is trying to keep on birth control, despite the fact that neither are sexually active, etc. This book is very, very timely in talking about women's rights and what role the government or other people have in women's rights. There's definitely trigger warning for sterilization. And I would definitely say if you are not in a place to read this right now, because this is 1973 and it is right after Roe v. Wade was put into place, and yet not being fully, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it wasn't enacted everywhere. People weren't complying by it yet. There's just a lot of discussion of women's rights and abortion and sterilization and all of that kind of stuff. So if you're not in a place to read this, maybe don't. But I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars because there's definitely times where the plot slows down a little bit, but I think it's just a really timely, important read, and I enjoyed it. Next is Mayhem and the Cat Burglar. So if you guys have been watching for any amount of time, my daughter and I love the Mayhem series. Mayhem is a little girl who finds out that she is a superhero. So I can't remember how old she is, but her mom and dad tell her like, hey, you're a superhero. You're going to start going to this school called the Pits, and it's superheroes in training, basically. I can't remember what it stands for, but so she is trying to figure out what her power is, all that kind of stuff. This is book 12, and it just came out in August. We pre-ordered it. It was all the thing. And so we read it, and it was cute. It definitely felt like a book that is like leading into the next book. There wasn't a whole lot of, there was a story within it, but it definitely felt like it was leading into the next book because Mia has a cat named Chaos, and the pets get invited to the pits, and stuff happens there that definitely set up future books. And so I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't our favorite, but it was still a cute book. Next is Stay Awake by Megan Goldin. So this one I gave 3.5 stars. I've heard mixed reviews on this, and I'm kind of middle of the road. I liked it. I didn't love it. This is a book about a girl who she wakes up in the back of a taxi and has no idea what is going on, where she is, who she is, all that kind of stuff. So she goes to her apartment, and somebody else opens the door and is like, you don't live here. And she has writing all over her body that says things like, stay awake, don't go to sleep. All these like instructions of things to do revolving around staying awake, staying alert, staying present. She also goes to reach into her pocket for her phone, and she's got a knife in her pocket. So we don't know what happened. Simultaneously, somebody winds up dead, and written in blood is wake up on the window. So she doesn't know, is she involved in this? What has happened? She cannot remember the past 2 years, and so she has no idea. She has no idea, and she doesn't trust herself, but also doesn't know what's going on. She's got obviously some sort of amnesia, obviously some sort of aversion to sleep. We don't know what's going on, and I thought it was good. Not the best thing I've ever read, but I'll definitely pick up more Megan Goldin. Then we read Mayhem as a superhero. We went back to the first one, and I don't know if we're going to read the whole series again. I kind of think so. I kind of hope not, just because reading the same thing over and over, we literally just finished, and so we'll see. But I gave that 5 stars again. It's just really cute having her figure out that she's a superhero and kind of how to navigate that, and it's a really cute series. Last, I read Most Wanted by Lisa Scottoline, and I like Lisa Scottoline a lot. I typically give her books like 4 stars because they're not like the best thing ever, but they're all really entertaining and really good. And I buddy read this with a friend and a subscriber, actually, and I'm really glad I did because this book is really great for discussion. So the premise of this book is that this husband and wife are having fertility issues. And so it's a problem. He does not make enough sperm or make any sperm or something. And so they use donor sperm to have a baby. And now she's like 9 weeks pregnant, and they're watching the news, and they see what appears to be their sperm donor being arrested as a serial killer. So then they both have differing opinions on what to do, like how to find out, is that our guy? Is that not our guy? What do we do if it is? All that kind of stuff. So I would say the first like half is kind of the interrelational dynamics between her and her husband of like agreeing and not agreeing about what to do. But then the second half takes a turn that I was not on board with. I did not care about. I thought was silly, and like I didn't understand the motivation for it. And so I kind of checked out, and I don't know. So the person I read this with, I think, gave it like 2 or 2.5 stars, and I gave it 3.5. But I feel like that's generous. The reason I gave it 3.5 is because the writing style is so good that even though I thought what was going on in the plot was silly, I still wanted to keep picking it up. And so, I mean, it's a generous 3.5 stars. But I liked this book. I also thought that like the portrayal of marriage was so silly because they were a couple that never fought, which if you never fight, that probably means you just never talk. And sure enough, when like something controversial happened, they both got kind of nasty at each other. And so it's not like they're this perfect couple in perfect harmony. It's that they are just, you know, I don't know. And then the resolution just didn't feel realistic. Like them as a couple did not feel realistic. I didn't like where the plot went. Overall, not my favorite by any means. And I've seen like this trope kind of thing done better, and it was just okay. So those are the books I read in the first half of August. Have you read any of these books? What do you think about them? Do you agree, disagree? I don't know. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. What was the best thing you read in the first half of August? And we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.